some salmon. I had made a little pan-seared
Mm.
salmon and some shrimps
Ooh,
and some Brussels sprouts. I'm on a straight and narrow. It
very
was
nice.
good in a mug. It was good in a mug.
That sounds good. Then I'm like, ooh, my
Hmm.
eyes look all little.
Oh, look at you,
Straight on.
baby. Oh,
Let me put
baby.
on some glasses so it don't look so noticeable.
Glasses or shades? I say put on shades so the
Right?
haters can't see you.
Block them out. That kind of helps too.
Well, okay, I see
Put
you.
on some
Oh,
glasses.
okay.
Hey y'all,
Girl,
hey. Welcome
we
back
struggling.
to
Hey.
guess what episode this is?
20? Yes. I'll never be on it. I'm on it now.
We're at
Episode 20.
episode freaking 20. That's so cool.
We're moving on up.
Yes. Y'all, I'm a little stuffy. I got the cooties, so don't listen to me. Don't look at me. Don't
Or
anything to
her
me.
cooties. Or her cooties.
Just pray for me and my cooties. I am sick of it. And I just want to be regular again. And I want to go see freaking Creed 3 this weekend. So I need these cooties to shape up and fly
Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah, Creed 3. That's good because we're gonna touch on that. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes. Well, my name is Lo.
And I'm Alnisa. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome to our episode. We are real blood sisters. I feel like we
Yeah,
haven't told y'all what to expect in a while. We're blood sisters from
let's
Atlanta,
go
and we
through it.
just basically gonna be talking like how we would normally talk. Since everybody got a
Hmm.
podcast, we figured, hey, we're as
Why
entertaining
not?
as anyone else when we talk our ish.
Talk about it.
Why not?
Why not? Talk about it.
But the first things first on our podcast, you have to get your cup and fill it up. So whatever you're
Oh,
drinking, make sure you go ahead and pour that up right now. Sis, can you tell us what you're drinking tonight?
I'm on that red tonight.
Ooh.
However, it's a different kind of red.
You use something else.
This is my dry week, so I
Oh,
got me a little sparkling ice grape raspberry.
well, that
So
looks
this is my
delicious.
dry week, and I have to do that. But I do have my wine glass, and I have to do that every once in a while. Get on one accord, get in tune with what the Lord said.
Won't he do it?
So
Won't he
I'm
do
just
it?
being, I'm just out here
Being
being
obedient.
dry this
Hey,
week.
and ain't nothing wrong with
What
that.
you what you
Cause
drinking,
guess
sis?
what?
What?
I'm
What?
on that white, but
You have a sparkling? No way! You have a
I
sparkling
have
water
a spark.
too.
I already poured mine, but it is also in a little glass.
Okay, y'all, for real, no lie. We did not
We're
do that
not
on
playing
purpose.
this.
What?
Do you remember these though? These
Mama used to
girl, they're
buy
so
those.
good.
Where did
Yes,
you get that from? I want one right now.
girl, they are. They sell them in Kroger now. Overpriced, but they're so delicious.
They are delicious. Oh my God, those were the only. I don't really like too many sparkling waters, but though, oh God, I gotta go get some. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
down to the Kroger. I'm gonna go down to the
go down to
Kroger.
the Kroger, and so the thing about it is they never had them in the sparkling water section. They're always just
Oh,
randomly placed in the store. It's like a scavenger
that
hunt.
would
You
make sense.
never know where it's gonna be.
That would make That's why I ain't
It's the
seen them.
craziest thing. Yeah, no, they are not in the sparkling water
Okay,
aisle. But anyway, so that's what we're drinking,
interesting.
y'all.
Okay, well,
I feel like because it's sparkling water, we can cheers. It's not just regular flat water. You're not supposed to cheers on just water, but
water.
it's sparkling water. So that
Let's not chance it.
no, okay, okay, not no
Uh-uh.
chance to just
Mm-mm.
shout out to Dry Week, y'all.
Ooh,
I feel it. Ooh, that's
ah,
strong.
that's
Ooh, that's
listen.
strong.
It brought tears to your
No, I'm being dramatic. Y'all, so we gotta catch up. I don't even know if I can you hear my fan? Is it loud?
I don't hear nothing, boo. I don't hear nothing
Okay, I'm gonna let
but
it
you.
keep going. Okay, good. We gotta catch up with what went on down to the weekend, what we got
Down to
into.
the weekend.
Sis, you want to start? Because I'm like, I don't even know. Do I know what did you get into this week? I don't even remember if we talked about.
You know what I got into? Absolutely nothing. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me backtrack. So, mom came down, kicked it with me and the kids. Um, when I say me and the kids, I really mean me and my daughter because the son is in
Oh,
college. Oh, shout out to my baby love. It was his birthday this week, y'all. Him 19 years old. I was emotional. Like, what am I
that's
doing with a
crazy.
19-year-old? What am
It's nuts.
a 19-year-old? And he's actually a leap year baby. So we celebrate him on the 28th when he doesn't have a real birthday. But I actually call him on the 28th and wish him a happy birthday. And then I also call him on March the 1st because technically,
Technically,
if we're going to be technical, that's his birthday. So
thank you.
chopped it up with the baby this week. Happy birthday to my baby love. But over the weekend, me, mom, and uh other baby love kicked it, and mom came down, and we literally what we binge watched a cooking show.
Really?
It was a cooking show. Yes, it was on, I want to say it was on HBO, or it might have been on like Paramount, but it was called Soul Food Kitchen, I want to
Ooh,
say.
okay.
It was interesting. It was only one season so far. It's only one season, and it was I think it was recorded in like 2021. But it was really good. And mom, you know, I do love to cook, but I've just gotten into like watching different cooking shows. Um, Mama be knowing all of the chefs. She be knowing them all. She be like, "Oh, look at such and such," and I was like, "You really do be knowing these people. Like she know them as if they friends. She know them by first and last
That's
name." Like,
crazy.
okay. So yeah, we just kicked it, binge watched some shows. We went out to eat, took baby love out to eat. We went to Papa Do's.
Ooh, I love
Um,
potatoes.
and then I just started actually after mom left, I started binge watching. This is the only schmuck TV. Schmuck
What?
TV. I think it's schmuck TV. I don't know. Maybe. It's the what is it called? Perfect Match on Netflix. Have you started watching
Okay,
that?
no, I wasn't thinking. I don't know. I was wondering if I should watch it because I see it's the same creators as Love Is
Love is
Blind
Blind.
and probably Married at
Yes.
First Sight too.
Yes.
Is it
Yes.
is it
You
how
know
is it?
what? It's actually really entertaining. And I just decided because at first I was like, I'm not gonna get into this because a lot of those shows I don't know. Like there are a lot of different other shows that like they pull singles from like maybe like four or five different shows. And so
Really?
it's a lot of different people that I've never seen before. I mean, I only watch Love is Blind and
So wait, it's
The
people from
Circle.
Love Is Blind and The Circle on the show?
Love is Blind, The Circle. There's some other shows that I can't even tell you because I don't even know the name of them.
Wow,
But they're
I
like
didn't
a
know
whole
that.
bunch of yeah, they're like a whole bunch of different shows and they just bring these singles. And at first I was like, I'm not gonna watch this. Um, but then I was just like, let me just watch the first episode. And of course I got
You got
hooked.
hooked.
So
Hmm.
it's definitely reality TV for you. It's
Okay,
like
yeah, yeah.
more so, along those lines. And I was just, but I'm still
But
watching
it's
it because four
entertaining.
more it's four more episodes came out this week. So I'm slowly making my way through those as well. So yeah, yeah,
I
that
might
that
have to
was
give
my
that a
weekend.
shot. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it was good. What you do this weekend or this past weekend, sis?
Girl, the most. I went out of town with your daddy to Sacramento. We went
The old
to
man.
yes, we went to Sacramento, California, and it was really we had a really good time. It was just such an adventure, like to say the least. Hey, Heart of HRM
Hey
Consulting.
sis, hey sis, hey sis. We drinking
Thanks
our
for
sparkling
joining
water
us.
tonight.
Yes, we're
Ooh,
dry.
ooh,
We're
ooh.
dry.
We're dry. Draw week, draw week.
But yeah, so we flew out there. Everything was smooth. It was I ended up renting a Turo car for the first time. So that was a really cool, interesting process. Sacramento was freezing cold. As soon as we got out
That's
of
crazy.
the airport, it started hailing. And our
In
yes,
Sacramento?
in Sacramento, it was hailing while we were waiting
Wow.
on the shuttle to the rental car. It was the
Dang.
craziest thing. So it was really cold. And I'm like toting, fortunately, both me and dad packed light because we
Mhm.
don't really want to check bags. So
Mhm.
but I still had both of the bags. So I'm like, dad's in his wheelchair wheeling himself, and I got the bags. But thankfully, in Sacramento, they actually had an attendant like come and wheel him to the
Oh, good.
shuttle. So that was helpful. I could just, you know, have the
Focus
bags.
on the
But
bag. Yeah.
it was a really cool a weekend though. Overall, we went to a place called Old Sacramento where it was like cobblestone roads, and they just had a whole bunch of like
Um,
candy
oh,
stores, and
wow.
they had a lot of different shops and places. And actually, I got
Uh-huh.
you this. Look at what it says. Do you see this?
Oh,
It's
that's so
like these
cute.
little socks. I got
Ah,
everybody's socks.
it goes with my wine glass
I
tonight.
got
Oh,
everybody's
that's so
socks, so I gotta
cute.
give.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome. I gotta give them
sis.
to you when I see you. And I gave mom her socks. They had a sock store, like all the
Interesting.
socks that you could imagine. And
That's awesome.
I got brother B some socks. I need to give them to him. But anyway, so we went there. We saw there was a comedy, like a what would you say, like a comedy place, comic
Comedy.
venue.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
cuz.
Hey,
Cousin.
cousin.
There was a comedy venue there, so we were like, okay, we're gonna come back later tonight and go here. Ooh, I
Hmm.
gotta sneeze, y'all. Excuse me. Hold on, hold on.
Oh, shoo. I threw you off. Nope, you still did
No, that was a laugh. You threw
it.
me off. It won't come, but if it comes,
That's all. That's all you got to do. You throw it. You throw it. Get you off course. Achoo, achoo, achoo. It's not gonna happen now.
okay, you ruining it. Okay, what's wrong with you? Anyway, so
She's a little icky,
I'm
icky
a
tonight.
little cootie. I'm a little with the cooties. But anyway, so we went there. We went to a Sacramento Kings game.
Oh yeah,
That
that's
was really
right.
fun. The
Was
stadium
it?
was super cool.
Was it
Um,
better than our stadium?
I would say it's very similar. It's
Oh, is
pretty
it?
much, it looks virtually the same, and they even have.
Hmm.
It was actually maybe it was a little cooler, honestly, because they have it
Oh.
kind of like the Battery. You know how the Battery has shops and bars. That's
Oh
exactly how it was. So
yeah.
we were sitting at this like barbecue bar place that had all the like games on. It was packed because they also have, I guess, like watch night whenever there are games.
Mm,
There was a Macy's in the same compound. They had like, oh yes, it was like
that's interesting.
a lot of shops and bars and restaurants right
Oh,
there.
is it a whole mall in there?
Yeah, it was cool. So we
That's
did that.
cool.
That was really nice. We had a good time. We went back that night to the comedy show, and it was really funny.
Was it funny?
It was really funny.
Good.
It wasn't a lot of people out because, like I said, it was really cold and rainy the whole
Oh
time we
yeah,
were
yeah.
there. But it was
Was
a
Dad
very,
behaving
he was.
at the comedy
And I actually
show?
was
He behaved.
surprised. Yeah, I think he might have been a little sleepy.
Wow.
And there was a heckler there
Okay.
that was like, it was so bad. The heckler had everyone. He was so bad that I thought that like the comics were gonna end up just fighting him because he was just ridiculous.
Shut up. I've never experienced like a live heckler
It was
except on the
really
show that
weird.
one time,
Oh,
3 episodes ago. Not that I'm counting.
oh.
I'm kidding.
Something's wrong with you. And you know what? Don't listen to her. Girl, but yeah, that
Oh,
was
see,
a
I'm spitting
real
on my mouth and I ain't even been drinking.
It was a real live heckler. He like it was crazy. The heckler was out of control, but the comedy show was very
Wow.
funny. We went to a winery. It was
Oh,
so the winery was actually it was perfect timing too because we ended up getting there like at 4, and I
mm-hmm.
want to say around 5 it started getting packed.
Packed. Okay.
Yeah, so
Y'all
we
got there
had
okay.
drinks and they were just having they were so everyone that we would meet was so like shocked that we came to visit Sacramento from Atlanta. I guess it's not a place that people come to visit often from out of
Yeah.
town. So
Right.
yeah, a lot of people were just like, "What? You why
Right.
you
What are you
here?
doing here?
What are you doing visiting Sacramento?" So,
That's
but
funny.
honestly, we did have a good time. So I like well, we talk about all the time. I get flight benefits, so um my parents and I we fly for free for standby, as well as Nisa. She's on my companion pass, so we fly free, but it's on standby. So we're just basically like wishing and hoping that we
Standing by.
catch the flight. Yeah, after everyone with confirmed seats get
Yeah.
seated, then they'll start going through the standby list, and it's based on how long you've worked for the company, based on seniority when they'll place you. So we got there to Sacramento, no problem. But on the way back, there were only two direct flights to Atlanta. So I knew the first flight we just missed, and the second flight I was like, we're not gonna make this flight either. So literally less than 5 minutes before this other flight that I saw was about to close the doors and take off, it was a flight to Minneapolis that was going from Sacramento to Minneapolis, and I saw that later on in the day they had a lot of spaces available to Atlanta.
Mm.
So I checked LA, I had checked Seattle, I had checked Salt Lake City, and none of them had spaces from that destination to Atlanta. They had a lot of
Mm.
seats to from
Right.
Sacramento to there, but not to Atlanta. So when I saw Minneapolis had a lot of spaces, I was like, okay, Dad, we're gonna have to try to get on this flight. I went to the gate agent. They were so kind. I
Five
was like,
minutes to go.
5 minutes max. Like everyone was basically already boarded, but
Already on the flight.
there were like three people that they were still like helping
Wow.
get in line. I went to the gate agent. I was like, hey, I'm non-rev. We call it non-revving. I'm non-revving, and I was going to Atlanta, but both of these flights are looking like I'm not going to get out today. I was like, I got my dad with me. We just want to. Is it possible for you to move me over to this flight because it's saying it's too late for me to try to check in on my phone?
Do
She
it
was like, oh yeah,
yourself.
sure, no problem. And
Oh,
she was so helpful.
good.
She helped dad down the gate and got us seated. So we were in Minneapolis though for like 5 hours, but still we made it to Atlanta that same day, because if we
Yeah.
wouldn't have gotten that flight, we would have just been in Sacramento overnight in the
Overnight.
airport.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So
the
yeah,
struggle
that was
with
a whole
with
thing. It
yeah.
was a that was but that was like the first time that's happened to me. So that was a whole thing. And then that Sunday I ended up um making Sunday dinner for some of my close friends, Haley and
Oh,
Jasmine and Terica. They came over,
what you
and
cook?
Ashley. I made girl. So I
Tell me.
made fried chicken,
Woo,
smothered chicken, rice, green beans, and black eyed peas.
you better get down with
It
the
was
get
really good, and they
down.
were talking about it the next day. So I was like, oh, they must have did a good job. So it was good.
Good.
But that was pretty much my
That's
whole
good.
weekend. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you had fun. That's funny because I made fried pork chops and smothered pork chops
Oh,
on Sunday. Yeah.
girl, shut
And rice.
up.
And rice. And green beans.
No,
I ain't lying.
girl, that's
I ain't lying.
crazy.
It is a little
That's
crazy.
crazy. I
We ain't
haven't
talk
had
about
pork
what we
chop.
cook.
We did not. I didn't know that. I did not know
I
you
don't
had.
really
Oh,
cook
I
pork
had
chops
pork
a
chop.
lot, but I just for some reason I knew I was gonna be going on like a little, you know, staying away from meat and only doing seafood for a limited time. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get my pork fix
I gotta get that swine in here every once in a while.
every once in a while. But yeah, let's get into it. I'm glad we had a great weekend. Off all, let's see, we're at Thursday. I almost thought it was Wednesday, but we're at Thursday. Hallelujah.
Girl, I'm so ready. I'm so ready. I'm so ready for the weekend.
We really shouldn't be wishing, somebody put it to me this way though one time. We really do wish our life away when we're wishing for Friday every single week.
Yeah,
So I try to be, not rush the weekend, but
true. It's
I
just
still
work,
be I
honestly. That's the
know
only
if
reason.
I didn't have work. Listen, when I'm out on vacation and on the beach somewhere and it's Monday to Friday, cool. Friday, you can take your time.
Oh
You can
yeah,
take your time. But anyway,
yeah.
no, but let's get into it, Lo. We wanted to talk
Let's.
about a couple of things, and I'm gonna start this one off, and then I'll let you start the next one off. Is that cool?
Okay. Yes.
All right. So Lo was just talking about how she wants to go see Creed 3, right? And this comes perfect timing because we just said, okay, we don't really bounce ideas. We just like, okay, this is a topic we can discuss, and then we're like, yes, and we try to allow for us to have organic reactions in the moment. So this is something that I wanted to kind of just talk about over. I think it was over the weekend, or maybe it was last week. I'm not on social media right now, but in the last couple of weeks, this has happened. So from what I understand, Creed 3 had their what is it? What is it called?
Red
Um,
carpet
red
event
carpet
or
event.
premiere,
Yes,
something like that.
their premiere here in Atlanta.
Hmm.
Of course, they got it in hot Atlanta, and it's been hot in Atlanta. Okay,
Yeah.
so they had the premiere in Atlanta, and there is this radio personnel who is on one of the local stations here. Her name is L'Oreal. And so I guess she was like working the red carpet event. And so Michael B. Jordan walked by her and she starts to ask him a question. And so he's like, oh, yeah, he somehow he was like, oh, yeah, you remember I'm the corny one, right? You remember? And she was just like, oh, I never called you corny. And he was like, oh, no, no, no. Yeah, you did. And so it was kind of a conversation where people was like, do you ever forget if somebody wronged you or someone said something about you and it's years later, do you ever forget? But either way, she was like, no, I didn't call you corny, I didn't call you corny. And so she's interviewed him for a bit, but you can kind of tell that it seemed like he was kind of like on guard, you know what I mean? Like, I know what you about, player, you know what I mean? And so at the end she was like, well, you're not corny anymore. And I was like, I wouldn't have said that.
That's
But
weird.
when it all aired out, apparently, I guess she has. I don't know if she has a podcast. I think she has a podcast with like another individual, and this other individual is actually the one that called Michael B. Jordan a cornball, but she referenced something along the lines of, oh, they actually went to high school together apparently in like Jersey. And she said that they used to make fun of his name because it was Michael Jordan. But also she was like, something along the lines of he used to walk around with like um a headshot photo and they used to make fun of him. So basically she was saying she was owning up to it like we did
Oh,
used to
on
make
her
fun of.
podcast.
Yes,
Okay,
before
gotcha.
she interviewed him on the red carpet. And so she did say that they used to make fun of him, but she
Mm.
did say that she was not the one that called him the cornball. You know what I mean? So as soon as he saw her, he was like on guard, like, oh no, I heard what you said about me. Have you ever experienced a time like back then they didn't want you? Now you hot. They all up on you. Look at me now.
Look,
Look at me now.
because we grew up in Atlanta, I feel like I used to be a string bean, but now I got a little balanced weight on me. You know what I'm
Come
saying? Look,
on,
I'm thicker than a
somebody.
snicker. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. You ain't
No,
sticking in a snicker, baby. Come on, somebody.
I'm kidding. I can't really think of a time where that's happened like in such a intense
Yeah.
way. I, I don't know. I had like randomly. You know what? Another topic that I was like, we should talk about is bullying as an adult. Like, do you get bullied as an adult? I was talking to somebody and I was like, I don't know
Ooh.
if I ever experienced bullying when I was younger. Like, I can't recall
Really?
like a time where people were like bullying me. I was quiet. I was kind of to myself, church, mouse. But I feel like as a grown up, I actually have experienced people straight up bullying me, which I know that's like a
Really?
buzzword now. We say bullying. As
Mm-hmm.
an adult, me, I'll probably be like, no, they were just being a beep,
Bia
you know.
bia.
Yeah,
Bia
but
bia.
it probably, I guess in the true definition of it, it's probably bullying. And
Yeah.
then over time, maybe, like, but we talked about that. Over time, they will like come back and maybe apologize or what have you. But
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that I can think of, like on a on a smaller, silly degree,
Yeah. Oh, it must be
one
really
of
silly.
one of my best friends has like a guy friend who's been her friend for years, and I've known him only through her. Like him and
Mm-hmm.
I aren't like friends, and I don't know. We just know each other through her. Don't hang out on the side, and I never see him
Right.
only when he comes to things with her. But
Right.
recently, she said that him and her went out for like drinks or lunch or something, and he was just like, "How's everything going? How's everything going?" And then he was like, "So, what's up with Lauren? Like, what who is she
Ooh.
dating? Like, is she with?" And I was like, he's asking about me like after all this time, years. She was
Like
like,
he ain't
girl,
never seen you before.
she was like, girl, he said when you came to my something of that I was having, he noticed he saw you in them jeans and was like, whoa. I feel like that was the first
Sweet.
time I had ever seen her.
Bigger than a
I
snigger.
said,
Bigger than a snigger.
you have got to be kidding me. It was the funniest thing in the world. I was like,
That's
you know what?
hilarious. So now he's seeing you for the first time because you're thicker than a snicker.
Oh my, I've had this good balance weight on me for at least
You said
two
good man.
years. I've seen it
That is
plenty of times. So
hilarious. That's
that's the
cute.
only one that I could
That's
kind of,
that's that's cute.
yeah,
That's
just
cute.
something light and
Yeah.
just like, oh, funny.
Right. I
But what
mean,
about you? Is that
I definitely have experienced that. That's what made me think of that because, and to your point, real quick, side note about bullying, I don't think I was ever okay. So it wasn't the fact that I was bullied. It was the fact that I was disliked when I went to when we first moved to the area that we spent the most recent time when we graduated, high school. I was the girl that came in knowing all of the guys because I knew all the guys because we all went to church together. The girls that I knew were all a year older than me and in high school. So when I got to eighth grade, the only people that I knew off the rip were the boys and the guys, and they were some popular guys. So the girls, when I went to middle school, when I say there was this one girl, she hated me. And I used to stand my ground.
whoa?
She hated me. And actually, at the time we were like close proximity with our cousin who's logged in right now, and I remember one time she probably doesn't even, oh, this is good, I'm glad she's listening. She probably doesn't even remember, maybe she does, but this one particular girl used to give me hell, and I used to be like, every time, and I was a little scrimp. But I used to be like, who are you talking to? Like, who is she talking to? Like if she'll walk past, and you know how somebody is passive aggressive. And she used to
Yeah,
be, you just walking past me and she might say something slick. And then I turn around and be like, who is she talking to? And I used to be so mad all the time. Like, do I just need to fight this girl and get it over with? Because she going to keep trying to pick on me.
yeah,
But she was picking on me without picking on me,
direct,
like
like straight up.
directly. And so I remember one time I was venting to my cousin, and we were like in eighth grade.
Hey, brother.
And she literally, hey, brother. And she literally, I hope she remembers this.
Really, Nikki. Okay. I just had to
She
say that.
literally, she literally was pulled me and she like grabbed me and was like, listen, you got to stand your ground and you can't let nobody run over you. Like she was literally giving me in eighth grade
A pep talk.
and she was a year like I think me and Nisi we were the same age, but my birthday's late, so she was a grade above me. But she was literally giving me a pep talk like, I don't care what they say. I don't care what she says. You stand your ground. You don't let them tell them blah blah blah. Blah. She was giving me like I was like, yeah, you right, you right. I ain't gonna let her punk
I
me.
know that's right.
So shout out to my cousin. That was
Shout
that was
out, cuz.
that was an interesting time in my life. But okay, so that was the bullying part. Well, I do have a story kind of like along the subject line of, oh, did anybody ever talk about you in the past and now they saw you and they're like, trying to give you like the googly eyes or something. So okay, I have this good girlfriend of mine who we've known each other since we were like in the ninth grade. So her brothers were really older than us, and I used to be over their house a lot. But it was just kind of like a little sister thing. And you know how people would be like, "Oh, you so ugly." Like I was never. I feel like a lot of people talk about how they were bullied or talked about because of the color of their skin. I don't feel like I ever have any of those experiences, but this particular experience sticks out to where it was one time he was just telling me, "Oh, you so ugly, blah 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 blah. Oh, I don't know why you be coming around. You so ugly." And I was just like, I don't care. And I was a little kid, so I was like, and he was like the big bad whoop because he was so much older than us.
That's so weird.
Yeah, but I really didn't care. I was just like, whatever, dude. Well, fast forward. Back then, you didn't want me. Now I'm hot. Fast forward. He tried multiple times over the course of at least 10 years trying to holler at me multiple times, like multiple times to the
That's
point where
creepy.
it was uncomfortable at some stage, and I was just like, listen, I appreciate the compliments. I appreciate the fact that you think I'm the ish. I really do. I really do. But it's never gonna happen.
Oh,
And I wanted to say it's never gonna happen because you called me ugly.
scoundrel.
Right. Sucker. So yes, I have experienced something like that before. And I think it's something that you don't necessarily you can move past. But for me, it's like
Yeah.
I'm not going we ain't gonna get over that now. I'm gonna
Yeah.
always remember that. I'm gonna always remember how you made me feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Always remember how you made me feel. I might not be like I don't care. I'm not sweating it, but at the same time,
You know what? I do
you
have
could
somebody
have.
like that.
You do?
I just remember it's this girl who, I was not to cut you off. Sorry,
No,
you can.
tell me. That's it. That's all I got. That's it. That's all.
I was trying to think like if somebody came to me to, kind of does kind of check up on me. So there was this girl. This was a really long time ago. Now I'm
Uh
like, oh
oh.
my god. There was this girl I
Bringing back
remember.
memories.
Yeah, and when I was, I was a church mouse. Like when I was in the ninth grade, I was just
Mhm,
church, church, church. And the very first boy that I ever like dated,
mhm,
it was like when I was like a senior in high. I was like, no, it was. I would think it was like my freshman year in college. This
mhm.
was like the first time I ever dated a guy, really. And we both were in church, and we had went to the mall to get
The guy or the
matching.
girl? The guy were
The
in church.
guy,
Okay.
we went to the same church, me and the guy that was dating at the time. And we were so like corny puppy love, googly eyed. We were like, we're gonna go to the mall and get matching shirts.
I
So
thought you was about to say matching tattoos. I was about to say that the devil is a lie. No,
girl,
you ain't getting
no,
no matching tattoo.
No. So we went to the mall and we were talking. He was popular in his high school. We didn't go to the same
Okay.
high school.
Right. Okay.
We just went to the same church. That's how we knew each other. So we were at the mall. It was like a mall near where he went to high school or whatever. We were both in college at the time, but just from it for a year. Like everybody
Yeah.
in high school, we still knew. So there we went into this like store that she worked in, and he was like, oh, that's, I know her, like I'm gonna speak. So he was speaking to her, and she was kind of looking at me like, like really giving me the stank vibes, like
She
negative,
liked him. She liked him.
probably, yeah, probably negative energy, and just really just
And
like,
obvious with it. Like,
super obvious with it. And again, like this was the first guy I had ever dated.
yeah.
And I'm not about to. You're not about to have
No,
me
we're
out
not.
here acting
No, not about to pop
crazy over
off.
no.
No, 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 no.
So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just go to this other store. Just meet me when you guys finish. And I let them continue their conversation. So obviously, that didn't last.
Very,
That dating
you were
didn't
a
last.
bigger person. You were
I
a
was a bigger
bigger
person.
person.
Cut
Yeah.
to it had to be, I was like 25 when I met her again. She attended this church that had hired me. And yes, girl, she attended this church that had hired me. And at the time, I don't want to sound ugly. This might sound ugly. So, okay, we were
Don't listen. Just preference it by
I'm not even
saying,
gonna say it. No,
don't
don't
listen to
listen
me.
to me. But
Dang, I
also,
want to
we
hear it.
just we just had two different things. Like I was just young, was doing my thing. She was young, and she had like some stuff going on. So over the years, like
I'm
she ended up,
picking up what you're putting down. I hear you.
yeah,
I hear you. I hear
yeah.
you. Mhm.
So she ended up like the guy that she was dating. Me and him were really cool, just on some cool
Cool-ish.
stuff. Like,
Right.
so she ended up having some insecurities about that. So I was like, it is what it is. But I hung out with all of the guys. It wasn't mainly
Oh
because I was
no.
the only girl that worked at that church. Everybody else that was hired were the
I'm
guys,
gonna tell
and
you
we
what it
just
is.
hung out.
Okay. Okay.
So
Hmm.
anyway, we hung out. We would hang out all the time because we were always working at the church. She still had a little things or whatever, but then like it ended up being I don't know. I hate when people like, oh, she was just jealous. I kind of think that
Yes, she
was
was jealous. What is wrong
because
with you?
still, even to this day, I'm not even on social media and I don't follow her. Like I don't follow her, and she has to know that I do not follow her. She be like the first one to like all my posts, first one to like see all my stories and comment.
Now
I'm
I'm hot.
like,
They all on me.
this is
She
a very interesting change of pace and energy for you, ma'am. But I don't have really any beef with her for real. Like,
Of
girl,
course not, but she
but I
she
just thought that's the
absolutely
one.
is jealous. I mean, that is don't no 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 don't try to sugarcoat. I don't know what you're trying to do. Don't try to downplay it. That's a sign of jealousy, and really maybe she just needs a little therapy, to work out her insecurities. So we can it's safe to say that when she saw you the first time with that first boyfriend, she was
Oh my
immediately
gosh.
jealous of the person that you were, and it continued. And now she just checking up on you, boo.
Oh my
She
gosh. You
watching
figured the
your
whole story
every
out.
move.
You figured the
Oh
whole story out.
Lord, you got to be more careful. Got to be
Yeah,
more
you got to keep
careful.
your ears and your eyes open. Yeah, that's the only person that is like, oh, it stands out today that how they were so resistant towards me earlier.
When you did
And I'm
nothing.
like,
I
oh,
mean, yeah, that's weird.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah.
weird. Well, anyway, boo hoo to her.
And boohoo to that guy that doesn't stand a chance. Ooh, that's real creepy though. Seriously, that's creepy
Yeah.
because if he was that much older than y'all in high school, I'm like,
I mean,
was
he
he
wasn't
secretly
terribly.
like,
He was at least. He's at least just 3 or 4 years. But in high school, that's a for
yeah, it feels
me.
like more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. True.
But I mean, he honest to God, he's cool. He's a cool guy now. But it was really a point in time where it would be like I wouldn't even go to like events because I knew that he was going to be there and he was going to be hitting on me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but it's not that now. Like he actually has come to me and told me like I appreciate, it was a lot of times where I was really just really hitting on you, and that wasn't noble of me, and it just shows what type. But he told me, he was like,
Yeah.
that just shows what type of friend you are. And yes, I would never do that to, that's my one of my good friends, brothers, one, but two, you call me ugly, and I ain't forget, player. I ain't forgot, player, you scoundrel. You scoundrel. Anyway, my feelings are not hurt for real. They weren't hurt then, and they're not hurt now.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was
It stands
fun.
out. Yeah.
It does, you know what I'm saying? It means I'm doing something right.
Huh. Getting them squats in. He must have saw you in them
Girl,
jeans too.
let me tell. Side note, let me tell y'all something. It's almost been a year that I've been working out at Orange Theory, a whole year next month.
I'm amazed.
And it, I feel real, like I kept saying to myself, oh my God, I feel so old. But then I was like, wait a minute, you've been working out. I've been working out. And this week, you know how like, okay, it's a very high intense, like it's called 3G. So one station you're gonna be on the treadmills for like 20 minutes. Another station you're gonna be on the rollers, and then the third station you'll be on the floor like lifting weights. I did some heavier lifting these last 2 weeks. And then I increased my speed on the treadmill,
Ooh.
because for the past year I've been at one speed, and I was like, I need to be, progressing. I
Yeah.
mean, I progressed a little bit, but I was comfortable for a good span. And I was like, I need to be progressing, and
Hmm.
with my weights and with my speed on the treadmill. And let me just say, it kicked my what. My lower back, I'm out. You see me, I'm squirming. That's why I'm squirming, because I ain't got no pillow back there. I'm like, this, I got,
Lower
I got
back
to do,
pain.
I got to do something about this back right here. I've been working hard.
That's
I
good
tell you
though.
that. So yeah, that's why I'm squirming, y'all, because my back is hurting.
That's good though. I know that's right. Round of applause for that.
Oh,
Child,
child,
I
listen,
wish. Seriously. Okay,
it's a
so
struggle.
shout out to you, sis. Congratulations. Like I feel like cheers with the M&Ms or something because
Oh, I
man,
want
a
an
year,
M&M. Come
that's
on.
significant. Okay. I'm gonna send it with your socks, but I got you.
Oh, my back
Just
hurt
kidding.
bad.
Oh,
Sorry.
excuse me. Okay, so
Okay, let's get into it.
okay, yeah, let's talk about this next topic. And I think we briefly talked about this book that we had read a couple of weeks ago called our My Seven Fathers.
Hmm.
I forget the name of the author.
Will
Mm,
Jawando.
thank you,
Will
sis.
Jawando. Hmm.
He The book was really good. I
So
recommended
good.
it to my sister. I actually recommended it to another friend. And they both really enjoyed it. But one of the things that he highlighted that we actually mentioned briefly, as a like a Black history, not really Black history fact, but more like a Black culture statistic,
Yeah. Hmm.
um, was the impact of Black educators and Black teachers in your formative years. And Nisa and I wanted to kind of circle back and discuss that in a little bit more detail and like basically personalize it on how it has affected us.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't want to spoil it, but
Yeah.
part of his experience is he was a mixed race um, boy, and he grew up kind of struggling to find his identity,
Hmm.
and he found pieces of himself and affirmation and what it meant to be a man through seven different men that he highlighted in his book, and he basically detailed exactly how they impacted him. And
Hmm.
he ended up being, as you can imagine, because he's an
Hmm.
author of a book, but
Hmm.
the when I read the book and saw him as an author, I didn't know
Yeah.
what he had done or what
Right.
position that he held in life, so
Yeah.
I won't
That was
spoil
that
that
was
for you.
big. Yeah.
But yeah, it was very impressive the way that his life kind of
Hmm.
went, and
Yeah.
I just
God.
love
Yeah.
that he credited, some of his, and some of them were his educators. So I want to know, sis. I guess you have not. I guess I know you have two perspectives because you
Hmm.
are a professor at a university, a 4-year college university, where you're teaching younger people, all
Mhm.
types of people, giving them higher education. But you also have multiple degrees, and you actually from it's I want to know specifically from you, because you've talked, at least to me, I don't know if you share on the podcast, how you weren't like a student like overly studying in all of your books
Mhm.
in high school and middle
Yeah.
school, but you kind of fell in love and grew a passion for academia and higher learning towards after what in college. So
Right.
what what kind of impact, how did the impact in your formative years impact you wanting to go and get all of these degrees, and was it not really your educators?
Mhm.
Like, just kind of walk me through
Yeah.
how it impacted you in your formative years versus
Yeah.
college.
But I wanted to point out because I think I forgot what the statistic was, but do you recall the
I
statistic
think I
that you
have it written
had?
down.
It was basically the impact that one African American teacher could have on an individual. And I kind of want to go through because I know we just read this book, but it's funny and interesting because I just right
Oh,
before I read this book, you got it?
yeah. It says one black teacher in third, fourth, or fifth grade can radically shift. Okay, so it says one black teacher in elementary school decreases dropout rates nearly 40%, while increasing interest in higher education by nearly 30%. And it says black students perform for teachers, not grades.
Yep. And that's important to note because I do think that's a valid point. But me and you have kind of a different story because
Really interesting, yeah.
throughout the course of my years of school, I really had coming from Atlanta, Atlanta school system at an early age, I only had black teachers. And
Oh, okay.
then so that's all I knew. But then when we transitioned to like suburbs, I guess you could say, I actually had my first white teacher in elementary school, like fourth grade. That was the first. That was when we moved from Atlanta, fourth grade, and actually, that teacher, a white teacher, was the teacher that impacted me the most. She was actually my English
Hmm.
teacher, and that is where I developed and grew a love for poetry and
Wow.
writing. And I just think while I do understand that it's important to see a reflection of who you are, to have a black teacher, but because that was all I knew, and maybe because it was in an underprivileged areas, that it held a different kind of weight. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it might hold a different kind of weight for like my children who go now to a predominantly white school, and like my daughter who has gone to the high school from ninth grade to 12th grade, and this is her first year having a black teacher, and and the first thing she says, she comes home and say, "Mom, I have this teacher and she's telling me, you know we're doing this and we're going to the aquarium and blah blah blah," and she's
Hmm.
so excited, and I'm like, "I ain't never heard you talk about no teacher like this before." But guess
Wow.
what? It's the first black teacher that she's had in all 4 years of high school. So I do think it's different levels, but for me it was just a different story because I had a teacher that actually really cared, and I know that's not always the case. But to your point, when you said that, I think Viola Davis in her book, she said something similar to this. I read that book right before I read My Seven Fathers. And she said, students perform for teachers and not grades. That's not what you said, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what Will
I
Jawanda.
Okay, so maybe it was from Will Durando. I thought it was from Viola Davis, but
Okay.
she did she
It's a
talked
it's a
about.
study. It's a study. So she
Okay, so
may have said
maybe
this too.
she
It's like a
might have
theory or something.
referenced it as well because her story was different, and not to give the book away, but she had a very hard upbringing, and she had a lot of, racist teachers, but she was always trying to impress her teachers. And she clearly said that, like, I thought that I was trying to get good grades, um because I was just searching for them to like me. That's what she was saying. I wanted my teachers to like me. I wanted them to respect me. I wanted
Hmm.
them to engage with me. I was always hungry for their attention. And so I think that's true, because I find with teaching undergrads, and even in my professional career, with managing people, you can tell the ones that are putting their effort forward because they want to please you. And not to
Hmm.
say that in a bad way, but they want to show that their work is meaningful and you can depend on them, you can count on
Yeah.
them. From my leadership role, but as a teacher, I do think that there are students that are like, you know what, I want to show you that I have what it takes. And I think that comes, not all teachers, they might not do that for, but I do think that comes when you have the right type of teacher and someone that's really, um, importing something that's valuable and more than just, okay, we just read it from the textbook, and I ain't gonna pay no attention to you. But investing in the students and investing in those that manage, I think it encourages them, and it lights a little bit of a fire to be like,
Hmm.
I you make them feel important, so they start to believe they're important. You make them feel that they can do it, so they start to believe they can do it. And it's about words of affirmation. I mean, every single week I'm posting um positive affirmations so that my students can know that I'm rooting for you. I'm proud of you. I know you got this. I know it might be hard. I was once there. I share my stories and tell them, hey, it's not always easy, but I promise you, you can make it through. So I think it's all about the right person that is actively in those roles that make up the difference. I don't know if it's necessarily, for me, in my experience, the race factor, which I don't discredit that.
Hmm.
But I think, because I do think it would have been a very different situation if I was brought up and I went to only an all white school, and had racist teachers, and did not have anyone to pour into me as a little black girl. I think it would have been very different. But fortunately, that was not my story. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Do you think, I know we've moved more to like a virtual learning environment, so I don't know if your students like see you that you're a black woman, but do you think that that has impacted any of them, like specifically the fact that you're like a young
Mhm.
black woman?
No, absolutely. I've actually had some of my black female students reach out to me and tell me that, and like I said, of course, I share, like, hey, I went back later on in years after I was divorced, after having two children, and my motivation, honest to God, was I got to do something different. I got to do something better. And really, my motivation for starting and completing school was so that when my children became where they pretty much are now, they can say, I have no excuse. And while I don't pressure my kids to go to college, I want them to do something meaningful with their lives, whether it's a trade, whether it's something that they just love to do. But I wanted to show them that there is nothing that's stopping you but you, and you just got to put in the work and do it. You saw your mommy do it as a single parent, holding it down, and now it took a village, because my village was strong. But I know too many people out here that have excelled and exceeded expectations. And so you can't tell me it can't be done. And so I do think that even with some of the Black students that have reached out to me, I've kind of, when you introduce yourself and you tell them a little bit about your background, and they start asking questions like, okay, well, when did you go to school and why did you do this and why did you do that? Then I share a little bit of my story. And some of the students that I teach are adults, learning adults, just
Yeah.
like I was. So I think it's motivational for them to hear from their now professor that I was also an adult student, starting from scratch, starting from, this is my first degree, and really making a full effort to get to the finish line. And
Yeah.
so you just have to have you have to have the confidence in yourself, but two, you have to have the right teachers and the right people in your corner so that you can see it through. So that's what I try to be. I try to be the encouraging teacher so that they can know that yes, it will get hard. Yes, it will sometimes even stay hard, but
Mm.
you can do it.
Yeah. I feel like I had a different experience because we weren't living in Atlanta by the time I went to school. So I really can
Yeah.
only remember being in school in Cobb County. That's basically, even though I did go, I think a little bit in Morrow, I pretty much, when we got to Cobb County, that was where we
That was
were.
it. Yeah.
So I specifically, throughout all of my years, I think I had two black female teachers from kindergarten to
Wow.
to,
You can
to 12th
remember how
grade.
many.
I had one in high school and one in middle school. Yeah,
Wow.
the one in middle school, she was a science teacher, and looking back, I'm like, yeah, she had to be really young because she was just fun, and she would ask the students to like babysit her kid. It was a whole.
That's probably against the
It
law
probably
these days.
is these days, but she sure did
Back
have.
then, yeah.
Yeah, she had 13. How old are you in 12? In seventh grade, 12-year-olds babysitting her children or her child back in them days. Yes, girl.
My Lord.
And she was fun,
Recipe
but
for
I
disaster.
think she was really, really young. Looking back, I'm like, she had to be mid 20s
Fresh out of
max.
school. Yeah.
And then I had a business teacher in high school who just had it all together. But it didn't really stand out to me until I had one black male teacher all throughout my years, and he actually was very motivational towards me. He selected
Mm.
me for like an advanced type of program where we got like
Mm.
mentors who were engineers, and he
Wow.
was very like words of affirmation towards me. And like I said, I was really quiet in high school, all throughout school,
Mhm.
so I didn't really do anything to stand out like that.
Right.
um I mean, I didn't have miserable experience at school, but I also wasn't just like rah rah. Here's low. So and none of my teachers that I can recall necessarily gravitated towards me like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but he did. I don't know if he just treated all of his students like that, or because when I think about it, he probably just treated all of his students like that. But it
Mhm.
felt like, looking back, it
The
felt like
impact was,
he really
yeah.
believed, that in me. um,
Hmm.
but it wasn't until I went to and like Nisa said, we have different experiences. Like I've studied in high school. I was the bookworm. I graduated with honors. And then in college, I flunked out because I had no direction, did not know what I wanted to do. And still to this day, I don't know I don't know, because I feel like you have your kids
I
as like your
cannot.
motivation to finish.
Yeah.
My motivation is different. It's like I really want a degree because everybody in my family has a degree. I have a
You
degree.
have a degree.
I have a degree, but I want a bachelor's degree because everybody else in my family has a bachelor's degree. And
Don't
I
let that
just
be the
don't
reason.
it that's one of the reasons, I'm not gonna lie. And another reason is because it's
Lord have
like
mercy.
I know that I can do certain jobs. And it's like I could have a degree in essay writing, like drinking sparkling water, and that's the only thing that I would need to just to even be qualified for certain jobs.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the company that I work for now, they moved more away from having degrees as requirements, unless it's like a
Okay.
skills
Yeah,
driven job
base.
where
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
have to know like a certain
This specific skill
program or
set. Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
But that being said, so that has been my motivation, no lie. And when I think back about it, I'm like, if I could do it all over again, I would have just gone to school, like cosmetology school. And like, I thought
Mm,
I worked so hard to earn great grades. I have
right.
to do something that is traditional 4-year college, get a degree.
Mm,
When I think back, I would have got a
scratch
cosmetology
that.
license, started a
We would have had a
business,
hair business. We would have had a hair
and I
salon.
probably would have been retired by now, child, or something. But no, seriously, that it goes to what you're saying about how you don't put pressure on your kids to like go to college necessarily, because there's so many different ways to just do something that you
Right.
feel is
Be-
meaningful. For me
Right.
right now, I feel like I am drawn to learning. I do enjoy learning. So that's
Mm-hmm.
another reason why I feel like I'm right now in a certification course, and I'm planning on completing my bachelor's degree. But it wasn't until I went to a technical college when I was like 27. I think I went back to school. It was a
Not
two
that
year.
long ago. Yeah, youngin.
Shockingly, it's almost been 10 years ago when I was
Oh,
27.
shut up.
Yeah, that was a long time ago,
Okay.
technically. But yeah, so I had a professor. She was my accounting professor in that class. And that was one of the most eye-opening experiences for me, because I think I just thought like, so I was it's so high and mighty, like it
Mm-hmm.
really quote humbled me. I was like, dang, I'm in this 2-year college knowing that I should have been doing what I needed to do.
Oh.
But that was the most impactful year.
Mm.
It took me about a year to finish, year of my life. One of the most, like, I was in class with, I remember being there in this class with this black woman professor. She was so just so good with all of us. She may have been in her 40s. She was saying how, at first she didn't want to go back. It was a technical college, so I don't think she had to have a doctorate. So she, I think, just had some master's degrees. But she was saying how her professor was saying they saw so much in her, she should go
Mm.
back for her doctorate. And she was currently in school for her doctorate while she was our professor. And
Wow.
I remember it was a young girl in our class who was pregnant, and we threw her a baby shower.
Oh my God. That's so cool.
There was this older guy, much older, like had to be in his 60s. He was in my class, and he broke down crying one day, talking about how when he was a young man, he worked on like a railroad, and he never thought he would see the day where he was in college with so many young black
Wow.
people.
That's
And
powerful.
I mean, I just get chills even thinking about that. And
Yeah.
she was so invested in all of her students,
That's
to the
the
point
key. Invested.
we
Yeah.
kept in touch. She has given me job recommendations. I
Wow.
still, will email her from time to time. It's just like it's just that one. I don't know I don't know if I'll ever get that again, even especially because the world has gone much more virtual, and
Yeah.
it's very
Right.
difficult to find that. So I think that you do have to have a different type of motivation, especially as a black student,
Yeah.
to reach the finish line. Like, I totally get how people just kind of aren't motivated to finish
Yeah.
school. Like, it's difficult, especially
It's
when
a
you don't have
different time we
teachers
live
like
in. Yeah, that are
rooting
that
for you.
impactful. Yeah, and it's different. It's a different day. It's a different time. And going back to something that in Viola Davis' book, her sister is an educator, and her sister. Wow, from daycare to college, all of my teachers were black. I have never had a white teacher. Wow.
What?
Some people
Do you
listen.
think it's Atlanta?
Well, listen, my children had all black teachers all the way up
That's true.
until I
High
moved
school.
them to where we are. For my son, it was all the way through ninth grade, from pre-K to ninth grade. For my daughter, it was from pre-K to eighth grade. And then when we moved where
Yeah.
we are now, this was their very first time having only white teachers. Only white. I don't think my son even had a black teacher his high school has the time that he spent in high school. However,
Mm.
I will say
Sorry to cut you
that
off.
both of my kids, I feel, had impactful teachers when they were in an all black school, to the point where my son, one of his teachers was, I think it was like his math teacher, but he was also his piano teacher for years. And
Oh yeah, you told
he
me.
was, he, because of the impact that that teacher had on his life, he wanted, my son wanted to go to the same college that that teacher went to. And I remember that's
Mm.
all he talked about, like at an early age. And one day I was just like, why are you talking about this college? Like, how do you know about this particular college? And he was like, oh, that's the college my teacher, Mr. Such and Such, graduated from and got his degree from. So I definitely think that that is a big part of it. But like you said, there's not a lot of people that are and pouring into students and pouring
Mhm.
into uh to to young people. And Viola Davis, her sister is an educator, and she said she found out many years later that the reason her sister went into education was because she wanted to make sure that she did not make a student feel like her white teachers made her feel when she was in
Mm.
school, because they had such a, I mean, that book is deep. That's probably one of my favorite books. That book is deep.
Wow.
I look at her, I loved her already, but I wish she was like, just come on over to my house and sit on my couch and let me make you something to eat.
Some smothered pork chop.
Some smothered pork chops, Viola. Come on over here. We you my auntie. You my auntie.
Hmm.
So, but she said her sister was like, some of the experiences that she talked about that they dealt with as it related to school and the teachers, it was awful. And so I could see how that could push a person to be like, no, I'm going to be the change that needs to happen, because otherwise we're just going to continue this cycle where we have all these bad teachers influence putting the influences on students that is just simply, or words or meaning behind what they act as if these are black children who don't have anything.
Yeah.
You're never going to amount to nothing. They're not pouring the right things into these students. And so she was just like, I had to make a difference. And that's why she went into education. And I thought
Mm.
that was
Noble.
major. That was
Yeah.
major, because you don't always see that, you know. Great teachers are great teachers, but it just hit different when your teacher buying stamps from your mama and brings you soup homemade. What's that teacher name? Call out.
Yo.
Shout out. Can I find a teacher to buy
Cause
stamps from?
that
So the
is
teacher was
so
buying stamps from the mama, or
from
your
the
mama was
teacher.
buying,
She said the
the
teacher
teacher was
buying
buying stamps.
stamps from your mama.
Okay, your teacher buying stamps from your mama.
Listen, I
Ooh,
mean,
that's a
I
real
look.
one. Get it
It's
how you
true
live it.
though.
Get
It's
it
true
how you
because
live it.
it feels more like a family member. Oh, and it's really true. I remember my ex was saying how his parents didn't really like know much about the college process, but he had an
Hmm.
aunt who was the counselor at his high school, and
Oh,
was like,
wow.
and basically gave him the step by step. Here, apply for this school right here, apply for
Hmm.
that school right there, apply for this grant, apply for this scholarship. This is gonna be your major. He got in with a scholarship, went to that
Wow.
school, did very well, and I was like, I think a lot of times it's not about. It really isn't
What you
about
know is about who you know.
it. I think it's about
Or
who is
how?
coaching you. I don't
Yeah,
think it's
you're right.
about,
Right,
yeah, it's
right, right.
definitely not about what you
Because what
know.
if he didn't know her? How would he have navigated through that?
Exactly.
It would have been,
Exactly.
he could have, but it would have been a lot of ups and downs to begin with. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I was listening to a podcast. There's this really big famous TikToker. I haven't actually seen any of his TikToks, but I heard about him. His name is Keith Lee, and I think he does food reviews
I
and
act like I was
everything.
gonna know who you was talking about. I don't know. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't know. He was on one of this podcast. Here's the thing with Kev and Angel.
Oh, he was
He's
on there. They had a guest.
Yeah, they had a guess. He's apparently really
Oh,
big, like so big that they didn't think that he would come on their podcast, but he did. I think he has
wow.
like 10 million, 10 million followers on TikTok or something. So he's really
Mm.
big. But he's like in his mid 20s. And he was saying when he went to college, he just basically showed up. Like he said he got a letter from them saying that he had gotten a scholarship. He
Oh
said he
my
did not
lord.
send nothing back. He didn't fill out no FAFSA. He didn't do nothing.
Shut up.
He just went to
Okay,
the
well y'all
school.
told me I could come, so I'm coming.
He was saying it, and I was like, this baby didn't know.
But if you
To,
don't know,
and
you
I'm
don't
like,
know.
if you don't know, you don't know. If you don't have anybody like
Oh,
telling you these things or kind of walking you through it, you don't know. And I feel like as Black students, a lot of times we have
don't have the
because
resources.
yeah, because and I don't want to cast this generalization because now it's much different, but our parents and our grandparents, it
They
wasn't like
didn't
they were
have that.
going
They
to
didn't know.
college at the same rates as we are going to college.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they were able to tell us, yes, this is this, or even for us to be like, oh, that's my mom's alma mater. Like, I want to go
Right.
to the
I
same
know
college
when
that my
people
dad
say,
went to. It's like,
yeah.
no, we're going to college basically for the first time ourselves and,
Hmm.
trying to establish, like,
First
even for
generation.
me, I thought it was dope that the college that I had gone to, that your son ended up, that's the college that he goes to. And I'm like,
Yes.
I didn't,
That's
go back
true.
to. I don't think that I'll finish my degree there because they just didn't have a program for adult learners that fit my
Hmm.
schedule. But
Right.
I just thought that it was.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
dope.
like, I love that. That's so
Yeah.
cool to me.
And truth
So
be told, I probably wouldn't have known about the school had you not gone.
yeah, yeah, and it's a really good school.
I mean, sometimes it's just really, you just gotta know somebody that can walk you through the
Yeah,
process
yeah,
and guide you and help you. Not to say that that's always the case because it won't always be the case. It was by the
right.
grace of God that I made it through.
But it
Okay.
definitely helps. It
It
definitely
definitely
helps
helps.
for sure. But
Absolutely.
we don't want to talk too much longer about all of this, y'all. Thank
Yeah.
y'all for popping in and having this conversation with us. We would love to hear anyone who maybe is watching this after the live, what your experience has been like with Black
Yeah.
educators, especially if you are an educator. I know of some teachers, and they definitely talk about their students and how they feel like drawn to be an
Right.
example for all of their students,
You
but
have
definitely
to.
some of the ones that they know they are their only example,
That's
for
it.
something
That's
like
key.
that. So
Hmm.
definitely want to hear you
Everybody be an
guys.
example to somebody. It's gonna do your
Yeah,
heart some good.
for sure, for sure. So sis, do you have closing quote?
Mm.
That's
Well, I'll go
okay.
back to you know what? I won't even think about it again.
Oh snap.
I'll go back to old and faithful. Much prayer,
Oh, much
much power.
prayer, much power.
Little prayer, little power. No prayer, no power. And on that note, drink your sparkling water
Yeah.
and have a great night.
Bye y'all.
Lay y'all. Bye.